Postgame show. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, man, and yeah, we're gonna dive into it, man. Let me move the microphone. The microphone is a little far away from me here. Let me get it a little closer. But what's up, good people? What's up? We're gonna jump right into it, man. I'm not gonna waste a lot of time today. I want to try to be in and out. Not saying I'm gonna strip you guys of time, but if we can do it quick, I'd rather do that because my wife and I actually have to still go out and do some last minute shopping. So I told her I would go ahead and run and do the show real quick, and then I got to get out of here. But let's get into it, man. Not gonna waste a lot of time. Let me do some quick shout outs early, and then we'll get it rolling. What's up to Michael Garman, Steelers 63, Ali, Afro Thunder, Luis D, Steve O'Neal, Steeler Gang, Droves Hill. Who else we got? Jordan Mid, Builder's Life. I know Kegels Bagels was up in here. I saw him earlier before I started the stream. G. Smithers, Calvin Buckingham, or Buchanan, excuse me, Mark Keller, and I think we'll leave it right there. Rochella Brooks. We'll leave it right there. So what's up to the early viewers? Let's go ahead and jump into this thing, man. Hey, man, listen. What did I say? Okay, what did I say? For you guys that listened to me on Tuesday, I didn't do a pregame show this week. Y'all know that's a little sketchy, but we'll definitely get better at that next year. What did I say? What did I say the reason would be why the Steelers might not make the playoffs, right? Before we even get into this game, what did I say? The Jets have a good defense, right? They have a coordinator in a Greg Williams. Greg Williams is going to bring pressure. He's going to try to mimic what the Buffalo Bills did. Now, I don't, can't go as far as saying he mimicked exactly what they did. I didn't analyze it to that degree, but I knew this would be a tough outing. Do you guys remember that? I said, I'm not sure we go there and win the game offensively. Didn't have much concern about our defense. Okay, however you want to slice that pie, I know some people are going to try to blame, the touchdown that was given up to Anderson early. I get it. But once again, I will always say this. I will even say it later in the show. When you are an NFL team and you can hold a team under 20 points, even better, under 17, you have a great chance of winning in the NFL. Our defense has continued to do that. Our offense, they just can't do it. You just can't do it. But let's go ahead and get to the stuff, man. I'm going to read to you guys my notes, man. And, to be honest, it wasn't a whole lot that I dissected in this game once I saw how it went. I just tried to keep the key point things together. First thing I want to talk about is the injuries. Once again, counter goes down. I don't know what it is, some type of leg injury, I think it was, or some muscle, quad, something like that. Connor goes down once again, and we all know how we feel about Connor. I love Connor as a person. I love his story. I love his demeanor on the football field. I love the way he plays. Unfortunately, Connor seems to be a guy that just can't stay healthy. And in this line of business, health is wealth. We're definitely going to have to go out and find another durable running back. I don't think we can depend on a James Conner being the featured guy with just a complement of guys behind him. So Connor goes down. Pouncey gets carted off. That's huge. Now, one would say it might not be that big a deal this late in the season because you don't expect the Steelers to go anywhere anyway, but that's still huge that him being carted off. That might be more serious than what it looked like. I haven't heard anything, so maybe you guys know more than I do on that. Bud Dupree got shaken up, but he came back in the game. Cam Hayward got shaken up, but he came back in the game. And then Mason Rudolph goes down in the fourth quarter after being, yes, I said it for some of you guys who didn't hear that, Mason Rudolph goes out of the game after being subbed in for Howard the Duck. I'm going to get to that. So anyway, excuse me, let's talk about really quick the Robby Anderson touchdown. I'll be honest with you guys, man, I had a rough start to the game today. I had to go to a brunch, that our church was sponsoring, that Leonard is a part of. We had to do that, so I didn't see the game immediately, right? I didn't get home till about 1:30-ish. For whatever reason, they were not showing the Steelers game in my area. I don't understand that. They showed us the Titans and the Saints. Of course, they also showed the Baltimore game. So I had to stream it. So by the time I started watching, it was about 1:35-ish. So I didn't see the actual touchdown. I did go back, watch the replay, and it just looked like one or two things. Well, a couple things happened in that play from what I saw. Great throw by Darnold. Threw it up high. Great catch by Anderson. Goes up to get it. But it definitely seems like, again, and this is the problem that we see in a Terrell Edmunds. And, of course, when I get the film on Tuesday, we can analyze it. And Tuesday might be a sketchy show as well, guys, with it being Christmas Eve. I might have to do it earlier in the day if it's live. If not, I might just do the pre-recorded, but we'll get something done. But anyway, it just looks like Edmunds, man, it just doesn't seem to be in position where he actually assists, he's able to assist over the top. Again, I got to look at the play. Joe Hayden seemed to have pretty decent coverage considering his age, and the reason why I have to say that, Anderson is a burner, and Joe Hayden wasn't too far behind him. He was in pretty good position, right? But again, it looks like Edmunds is always trailing behind, or he's a step behind. But either way, you got to give credit to Sam Darnold as well as Robby Anderson. Great catch, great throw. It's going to happen. It's the NFL. But once again, Terrell Edmunds is just not the cover guy. We all know that. I've been saying that forever. A lot of you guys in the chat say that. I'm not going to go as far as saying the kid is trash. I think he is good at what he does. Playing around the box. He's shown to be a better tackler this year. He's just not a cover guy. He's just not a cover guy. That's Minkah Fitzpatrick. So anyway, we give up that touchdown. So then right after that, the next thing I noted here, I said Johnson gets a 30-yard punt return with 4 minutes left in the first half, but it gets called back with a holding by Dangerfield. That's a huge transition right there, so I wanted to point that out. In the offense, basically, Duck Hodges throws 2 interceptions early and often. Now again, the first one, I saw that a little bit later, so I went back and saw the play. Is what I always say about both Duck, and I've also said it about Rudolph. Now, I thought Duck was a little better at this until he played a little more. Hint, hint. You notice I always say I need to see these guys play a little more before I can decide what they are or they are not. Once I start seeing Duck play a little more, I say, you know what? I like his moxie. Just like I said about Rudolph. I like his pocket presence, even though sometimes in the pocket he tends to drift or he tends to bail out a little sooner. But I do like his mobility in there. He sticks in the pocket. But the one problem I did have with him and Rudolph is sometimes these guys seem to lock in on their assignment from jump. Now, I know a lot of quarterbacks do that. I know I've seen Brady do it when he knows he has a look and he's waiting to see if the look comes open and he throws it. But the difference is what I noticed with Duck and Rudolph, they just lock on and it's like there is no other decision. At times. Not saying Duck hasn't read his progressions before. He's done it. But he has a tendency to lock on an assignment. So the very first interception, how did you not see this guy dropping back in coverage off of the line? You're looking right in that direction. You're looking at Vance McDonald. It might have been Vanette, but I know he was looking at the tight end, watching it the whole time. This guy reads his eyes, jumps in front of it, picks it off. Just that simple. Right? Next thing. Forcing the ball downfield to Jalen Samuels in the back of the end zone, and you allow May, I believe it was Marcus May, one of those guys able to come over and undercut that. And it's just, you're just throwing interceptions when you don't need to do it. All right, so everybody was wondering, after him having a tough game last week, was it going to be a short leash, so to speak? Seems like it was. Tomlin and the crew, in my opinion, did the right thing. You pull him while he's struggling early enough to allow somebody else to come in there. And what do we see? Mason Rudolph comes in the game and plays relatively well. What a throw to Deontay Johnson. The offense started to move a little bit. But here's the funny part, guys. This is the same thing that we saw happen when Duck Hodges came in for Rudolph. Isn't that crazy? And the reason why I'm going to make that parallel, we might touch it again later in the show. Have I not been saying this about both of these quarterbacks? Just because they have a moment doesn't mean that these guys are the saviors. They're the next coming of Ben Roethlisberger. Not even just the next coming of Ben Roethlisberger, but they're the next franchise quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. What have I been saying? Some of you guys go way off the deep end on either one of these dudes. Y'all know who you are. Kenya knows who you are because we've been paying attention to the commenters. I always pay attention to the comments. Even if I don't dive all the way into it, I'm always paying attention, baby. Always. I just have that knack and that ability to do that. I'm always paying attention. I got somewhat of a photographic memory. I know, it's a little crazy sometimes how I can do that, but it's just a skill I've always been able to possess since I was a child. So I don't forget much. And y'all know the proof of that is a lot of times I reflect back to you guys in the chat and I'll be like, oh, I ain't seen you in a while. It's because I'm an idiot savant, I guess you would say. But this is what I've been trying to tell y'all, man. Some of y'all was so gung-ho for Duck, and then you were so gung-ho for Mason Rudolph until they have a bad game. It's exactly why you have to allow multiple games, even sometimes a season, to determine if a guy is good or bad, if he will materialize. And at this point, we are able to see that both Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges are about at the same level. Mason Rudolph actually with a stronger arm. Duck Hodges' arm has looked rather weak these last few weeks, has it not? And remember, all of us, listen, we were all on board saying, yo, I think Duck gives us the best chance to win because he slings it. But when he was hitting those shots and when he was throwing the good timing routes, I wasn't really noticing how weak his arm appears to be at times. But you've seen it show up against Buffalo, and you saw it again today. Rudolph clearly has a stronger arm. And reason why I still think, y'all remember I said this also when Rudolph got benched, I still think Rudolph has the better upside. Now, listen, I'm not sitting here saying these guys are the franchise guys, and I saw some of you guys even before the show started saying we need to go get Jalen Hurts and all. Guys, I understand how we feel as fans, but do y'all think the Steelers are going to draft guys like that this early when they expect Ben Roethlisberger to come back? Disclaimer, I'm not saying it's the right or wrong reason or the right or wrong decision. I'm clearly just trying to explain to you what our Steelers normally do. Do you think the brass is going to do that? No, I don't think so. They're banking on the fact that they have Ben Roethlisberger for 2 more years. He's committed to finish out his contract as long as there's not another injury or setback, right? Right? So they assume that they're going to try to build around him, especially now since we have a defense that is playing championship caliber. That's what's probably going to happen. So don't expect Jalen Hurts or any of these guys in the second round from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not saying it won't happen. I just wouldn't expect it. But anyway, I went off the rails there for a moment. My apologies. Let's get back to my notes, man, so I can get some phone calls in here and I can get up out of here. Next thing I noted, I said the Joe Hayden interception. You know, I wasn't quite sure how that would have been called until I think Blandino they went to. One of those guys doing the broadcast, and they said that actually should have been ruled an interception. So clearly it appears to be another blown call because you guys know the new catch rule. It doesn't just apply to the offense. You know, the whole Jesse James thing, the surviving the ground. They basically said in that situation, Joe Hayden had control, and when he went down with control with one knee, even if the ball comes out, he was considered a runner at that point, and it should have been an interception. So that was a tough break for the Steelers. Big swing in the game right here, guys. TJ Watt, which is the reason why I once again have him as my thumbnail. What a beast. What a beast this kid is, man. TJ Watt forced a fumble and recovered it. How many times has he done that? I mean, how many times has this dude forced a fumble and recovers his own fumble? Okay, so again, forced the fumble, recovered it with 30 seconds left in the half. Steelers get the defensive holding call on Washington with 9 seconds left. Steelers score with a shot to Johnson from Mason Rudolph, tied the game 10-10 at the half, and Mason Rudolph put it right on the money. Put it right on the money. What a great job, Mason Rudolph. What a bad job by the Jets defense. If I was a Jets fan, you know that they're going into the end zone. No timeouts. They just tried to do it with Washington. They come right back again on the opposite side of the field. How do you give that up? And speaking of Johnson, have we not been saying it? That kid is going to be special. He's going to be special. He made some special plays today, and it ain't even just the touchdowns, just the little stuff that he does after the catch. You know, fighting for extra yards, sticking words getting tied up now. A stiff arm, putting a stiff arm out there to get extra yards. Only thing I just want him to work on going into next season is his ball security. But other than that, clearly right now, I hope you guys feel the same way. And if you don't, it's all good. But I feel with a Johnson and James Washington's finally showing up this season, you know, he's been very, very good in the last, 6-7 games. With those two, along with Juju being back fresh and where he needs to be, I think we have a solid 3-man wide receiver core going into next season. We'll see what other pieces we build around him. I still like Kane. I hope they consider bringing Kane back. And I hope they also go out there and draft another wide receiver. Because clearly, at this point, you're not really going to keep Johnny Holton. You could probably find somebody else to do that. Switzer is out of here. You know what I mean? So, speaking of that too, let me interrupt myself really quick before I forget this point. You see what Johnson is able to do with the kick return game? Even when there's really nothing there, he makes something happen. You see what Kareth White is actually able to do with the return game? Even though there's not much there, he's still able to get it to the 25 or beyond. How many times did we go through with Switzer not getting anything? So it looks like we're starting to get a normal or some normalcy with our return units. Little things like that, man, you got to pay attention to. All right, so second half. Steelers come out. They go 3 and out. We run a tight end screen at Vance McDonald on a 3rd and 5. We did end up holding the Jets to a field goal, but then we go 3 and out again right after that. Randy Fiedner, can I talk to you for a moment? Come here. Come here real quick. Let me your ear. Why are you calling a tight end screen on 3rd and 5 with Vance McDonald? I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to say it slow in case some people don't know where I'm going with it. 3rd and 5. Why are we running a tight end screen to Vance McDonald? Vance McDonald is not a burner. Obviously not at tight end. Vance McDonald is not a playmaker per se. Vance McDonald is a brute strength type of guy. Stiff arm you, push you to the ground, put his head down, rumble 3, 4, 5 more yards. But that Vance McDonald, it doesn't come across to me as being the guy I want to throw a quick screen to in a 3rd down situation. Early in the downs, sure. Try to catch the defense off guard, especially if you're you might have 2 tight ends on the field or something like that. If you're not in 11 personnel, I get it. In early downs, you get more bigger people on the field for the defense. I get it. But on third down, you have to be trying to get it to your playmaker. If you're going to run a screen, why not Deontay Johnson, who seems to be able to create his own space? Why not one of the running backs? You're not fooling anybody with that. Even if it's not about fooling somebody, I don't expect Vance McDonald to get the first down if he catches it and guys are around him. No knock on Vance McDonald, but I'm just saying, they're only tight ends, and I could be missing a couple guys, but I'm going to go with the 2 obvious guys. Maybe if that was Kittle, maybe if it was Kelsey, I understand that. Because they can create. These are not your typical tight ends. But Vance McDonald? So Randy Fiedner, man, you got to take a huge amount of this blunt, the brunt of this blame today. Whoever else was involved with the offensive plan, it just wasn't there today. I will give him credit, though. I will give Randy Fiedner credit for this. I thought it was wise at times to continue to try to run the football. We didn't go away from it so early, even though the Jets are number 2 against the run. You still want to try to establish the run, and by us sticking with it, we were getting 3 yards here, 4 yards here, 5 yards here at times, and it was putting us in more advantageous spots. More opportunities to pick up a 3rd down, excuse me, or get a 1st down on a 2nd and 4 or something like that. That's why you try to at least continue to stick it out if the game is close like it was today. We probably should have tried to do more of that against Buffalo, who was 20-something against the run. We probably should have had the same plan that we had today as far as sticking with the run. But it is what it is. We took our shots when we needed to. You know, their secondary is not that great with those young corners out there, and our guys were able to make things happen. But the offensive line failed us quite a bit today. Offensive line wasn't that great. Blitz pickup wasn't that great. Got us in a lot of trouble. Snaps from the center wasn't that great. Both Pouncey and B.J. Finney costed us. I don't understand it, man. I don't understand what has happened to the offensive line. What else I got here, guys? And then I'll get into a couple other things before I take some calls. Mason makes a tight throw to Juju on 3rd and 9 in the third quarter. You guys remember that one? And the kid, I forget his name, but the secondary guy was this close from getting to that ball. That was a heck of a throw by Rudolph. Heck of a catch by Juju. You know, keeping his concentration, catching that ball. That was huge, but then the Steelers go 3 and out after that, so it didn't mean anything. At the beginning of the fourth quarter, Steelers jump on a punt and give the Jets a first down. Almost came back to bite us. However, the Steelers defense once again got a 3 and out to force that punt, and then Duck Hodges comes back in for Mason Rudolph. But then down the stretch, man, about 8 minutes and 43 seconds left, we get sacked. There was a bad snap that took us out of field goal range. And then we have to punt it away. And then Barry is unable to pin the Jets. It only gets a 20-something yard punt. And then again at the end of the game, another bad snap. Hodges able to get the ball off. And, you know, it's out of the reach of Juju Smith-Schuster. I know some people are going to say he should have caught that. But if you look at the angle, the ball was high. Tough catch to make there. We just didn't look good, man. And bottom line, offensively, we have no cohesion. We just don't have any cohesion on offense. And this is why, people, this is why I said that the Steelers would probably not make the playoffs. Playing, yes, the Jets. Many of you were thinking we were going to go in there and just win this game. No. If you really analyze what's going on with the team, our offense is not good. We've had good moments with our offense. Think about everything that's been like unfavorable for us have been big shots. We ain't really had no sustainable offense. Very few times this season has we done that where it's been just a sustainable offense where we just picking up 10 play drives and 12 play drives and 6-minute drives, 7-minute drives, and we go all the way down the field. We haven't done that with Rudolph or Duck. Maybe a couple times we've done it with those guys. Maybe a couple times. But it has not been consistent. And like I said, some of you guys are putting too much pressure on the defense. The defense is going to give up some points, ladies and gentlemen. Every defense does. Even the best in the league, even the Patriots. It doesn't exist right now where we just shutting every team out. Our defense has not allowed many points. And in most of these games, we have allowed under 20 points. In this game today, they had only given up 13 points all the way through the midpoint of the fourth quarter. And then still only gave 3 more up. Sam Darnold at one time in the fourth quarter, the dude was 183 yards passing. Le'Veon Bell didn't even sniff 100 yards. They didn't do much. We gave him a short field on the interception, the first one. And like I said, it was a great throw and pitch and catch, from Donald and Anderson. It's going to happen. But our offense just cannot. This is why I told you guys, man, I didn't have any expectations for this season. Point blank, period. If we somehow still sneak around and get in there, who we going to be? Who we going to be? Let's be really honest about that. So if there is any positives, guys, what I do see about this team, and then I'll take the call. We have a defense now. So the good news is that you would expect this defense is going to be good for a while because pretty much the same pieces are going to be there. And let me say this too about the defense. I know some of us don't really care too much about Mark Barron. I know he seems to be a liability in coverage at times, but I'm going to tell you something. Mark Barron might be there the second year. unless the Steelers feel like they can get that from somebody else, unless they can bring up a guy like UG3 or they go in the draft and find somebody, and unless, he could end up being a cap casualty type of guy, along with somebody like McDonald, if we really feel like we have to re-sign Bud Dupree, or might I say Stud Dupree, getting to the double-digit mark. Come on, man. You got to give it up for Bud this year. He finally did it. When is the last time we've had 2 outside linebackers with double-digit sacks? And here TJ got another one today. This boy is phenomenal. You might want to keep that pair together for a minute. So, I say all that to say this. Our defense is set. Get a little piece here, another piece there. Alu, played a great game today in replacement of, filling in for Cam Hayward and obviously helping to fill in for Tuitt being out. Hargrave did his thing. A lot of people don't see what he does down in the trenches. We had a great game today. Great game plan for the most part. It's just our offense, guys. Listen, I think it hit everybody in the face today. We don't have it. We haven't had it the whole season. So to expect anything better, I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. So, all right, man, let's jump into the phone queue for a minute. Like I said, I'm going to try to get out of here a little sooner than an hour today. We have one call in the queue right now. It's area code 814. 814, I believe, is Kegel's Bagels. If you could give me a thumbs up or let me know in the chat that you actually can hear me in the queue before I even take it. Let me see what some of you guys are saying in the chat real quick while we wait for Kegel to give us the okay. Afro Thunder says, Merry Christmas, Sim. You gave 48 a nickname. Yeah, Merry Christmas to you. No, man, yeah, I've been saying I wanted him. You remember, I don't know if maybe you weren't around in the beginning of the year, but I said I would like for him to be Stud Dupree, at the very least, Bud Dupree. I just did not want him to continue to be Dud Dupree. Let's see. Relfax says, Bush ain't make huge plays, but his tackles are always there. Yeah, Bush is all right. What Lanisha said. Lanisha said Bush has been good and will only get better. Yeah, Bush going to be fine, man. Was somebody saying they didn't like Bush? Phi Beta says, is it the players or is it schemes of the offensive woes? Ben had all season, even Ben bad all season. Even with Ben, the offense was abysmal. But you know what, Phi Beta, you can't say that. Ben Roethlisberger played, 5.5 quarters? Don't do that. Don't do that. The Patriots steamrolled us as their defense, as we now see why they stifled a lot of people. First week of the season. No, we won't. We've never been readily available that early for whatever reason. And then after that, it wasn't like Ben was playing horribly in the Seattle game, if I remember correctly, but he got hurt. And so you can't, me personally, I can't throw Ben in that mix. Kegel said he can't hear me in the queue. Isn't it weird, guys, that Blog Talk seems to work? It seems to work on Tuesday, but for whatever reason on Sunday it gives us an issue. So, all right, Kegel, and I see Roughhouse is in there. Y'all know the routine. What I'm going to do when I bring you in, we can hear you, just start talking. Talk about a minute or so, and then, there you have it. So, it's going to say unmuted. Just start talking. Even though you can't hear me in your actual ear, we can hear you. So, I'll bring you on here in just a moment. Same thing with you, Roughhouse. When it says unmuted, just start talking, and we'll all be able to hear you. So, we can't let the one monkey ruin the show. Monkey being Blog Talk Radio. All right, let's do it. First up is going to be area code 814, which is Kegel. I'm going to wait about 10 to 15 seconds to allow the delay to catch up, and then I'll bring you in. That's going to be all right, Steelers fans. Don't worry, man. Better days are coming at some point.
Hey, man, are you able to hear me?
Yes. All right. So, Kegel, I muted you, and I'm going to come back to you. Remember the script. I can hear you just fine. The chat can hear you just fine. The only issue is Blog Talk, for whatever reason, is preventing you from hearing me in the phone. All right, so I'm going to come right back to you, so you don't have to ask if I can hear you or anything like that, because even if I respond, you're not going to hear me until 20 seconds or so later in the delayed stream. All right, so let's try this again. And you guys have done this before, so we should be up to speed on this by now. All right, that's our workaround. All right, I'm going to wait 10, 15 seconds, and I'm going to bring you back in. When you hear unmuted, just start talking.
And yeah, that's all I got, man. See ya. Steel Nation.
All right. So, Kegel, it sounds like you missed it. And again, I'm not trying to blame you for it. It's just, y'all know Blog Talk, man. So, Rough House, I'm gonna come to you next, and Kegel, we'll come back to you, man. If you're able to hear me in the stream, eventually you'll hear what I said. So when I come back to you, just start talking as soon as you hear unmuted. And now we're gonna move on to Rough House. So Rough House, I'm gonna wait about 10, 15 seconds, then I'm gonna bring you in.
Hey, what it do? And y'all already know what it is. Reporting to you live from Planet Clarksville, Tennessee. I am that boy Box. This is Rough House Boxing TV. And once again, it was ugly, man. Y'all got to excuse background noise. I'm driving out through these city streets. But I just wanted to say I agree with everything that Sam said. Man, our defense is there. And the only fear I have is that we spend as much time waiting on our offense to catch up to our defense as we did when we were waiting on our defense to catch up with our offense. And it just flip-flops, man. That's the only thing that I'm worried about, man. Hey, and for everybody out there, hey, da-da-da-da, Captain Reality is here. I'm back. Hey, Sim, I bolted that window shut so nobody else could jump out the window. Hey, we tried to tell them, man, take it game by game, temper your expectations, because we weren't sure at the time if Mason Rudolph or Duck Hodges was going to come back down to earth, man. And reality has struck. It is what it is. I still believe we can make the playoffs. I ain't going to lie, man. The good thing about today was the Titans lost, the Browns lost, along with us. So nothing really moved as far as the playoff picture is concerned. Still in the number 6 spot, man. Hey, we can still get there. What we do when we get there, it remains to be seen, man. But y'all already know what it is. And if y'all have not subscribed to Sim, slap yourself with 2 hands full of thumbtacks. Rub them in your cheeks real hard. You know what I'm saying? Shame on you, man. Subscribe to the homie Sim. Tap that bell icon so you can get that notification when he put out the good work. And, yeah, I am that boy Box. This is Rough House Boxing TV. Man, y'all make sure y'all stop by the house. Just remember to wipe your feet and close the door, man. Jamel Charlo, 11-round KO victory over Tony Harrison last night. Epic fight, man. That's what it is. I'm out. Cheers.
My bad. Let me start it over. My bad. Y'all couldn't hear me there. So let's rewind that. All right, let's start it again. Okay. I agree fully with what Rough House said. Fully agree with what Rough House Boxing said. It's like the offense, it waits to get started, until The defense tries to get going. It's weird. But the truth of the matter is we are just not a good offense. We're not a good offense right now. And I don't know if it's all because of Randy Fichtner. Is it all because of Ben Roethlisberger? Is it all because of the two backup quarterbacks are not great quarterbacks? You would think that Mason Rudolph shouldn't have that much problem because he's been there. He's been there. So why is he having problems? You know, maybe they're not the caliber of quarterback as Ben Roethlisberger, but the worst part about it is Ben Roethlisberger, even if he does only have 2 years left, we don't know how he's going to recover. Is he going to be the same Ben? And let's keep it real. Last season, he was the same old Ben in one way that we don't want him to be the same old Ben, and that was interceptions. Yeah, he put up a bunch of yards and had a season best as far as overall statistics, but you also threw 16 interceptions. I don't want that Ben Roethlisberger coming back. I don't want the extremely pass-happy Ben Roethlisberger coming back. So, yes, it is probably time for us to at least address the quarterback position. But, again, I got to remind you guys, do you think the Steelers are actually going to actively look for the top-tier quarterback in this year's draft, especially with not having a first-round pick? I don't expect it's going to happen. And if it does, great. But what I suspect to happen is we're going to look for more help offensively, primarily tight end. We'll probably be looking for a running back at some point, a receiver at some point, and maybe a couple other pieces on defense. Might even be looking for offensive line at some point. So there's a lot of other areas that they need to address before they address quarterback. I don't think they think this coming draft is the panic button draft for a quarterback. What they're probably going to expect is that Roethlisberger will still be the starter, and these other guys, maybe they'll come along. That's probably how it's going to play out. All right, and I see a couple people, one or two people in the chat that, it's always, every week there's always Fire Tomlin, and I'm like, all right, great. If that's how you feel, that's all I'm going to say about it. Okay. I am, once again, I'm very surprised that the Steelers are at the point they are right now. I would have definitely thought we would have had a losing season. Look at what we're playing with. So be happy that the team has been stable enough to, at the very worst, they're not going to end up with a losing season. I know that don't mean everything to some people, but let me say this to the people who expect a championship every year. You really thought we was going to win it this year? Seriously, when Roethlisberger went down, just him alone, you really thought the Steelers were going to win a Super Bowl this year? So that is my point. Now, if you have opinions about the team and the organization before this season, great. But if anybody is using the outcome of this season to determine who needs to go and who needs to stay as far as coaching staff, I don't know what to tell you. If you've always felt that way, more power to you. Thumbs up. We're all entitled to our own opinion. But if anyone making harsh criticisms for this season, even though you've heard me and Kenyon and multiple people say Keith Butler's kind of got on my nerves still this year, look where we ranked that in the defense. But we can't say the defense is the reason why we're losing football games. So that's just my thoughts, man. And also, here's another thing. We're not in the sixth spot right now, Rough House. The reason why we're not is because we lost to an AFC opponent. Even though the Titans lost, we only were ahead of them because we had one more AFC win. Now that we've lost another conference game, we are right now in the hunt. So as of today, the Steelers are out of the playoffs. As of today. All right, man, let's see. Do we got any more calls? Kegel is still in there, so hopefully Kegel, we can get you in the proper way this time. So hold tight. 10, 15 seconds, I'll bring you in. And after that, I think we'll wrap it from here, man. After that, I think we'll just read some more chats, and then we'll get out of here.
Hey, man. I thought that the offense was good for, like, one. That's about it. I thought that the defense is playing great. I think that the biggest problem on offense, though, is the inability to score inside of the opponent's 30-yard line or so. I think that we really struggle down there, and we have to kick a lot of field goals. Or on those couple of drives that we were pushed out of the drives were that the bad snaps happened and we weren't able to kick a field goal at all. I think that TJ and Bud on defense are just, man, they are balling. I'm really happy with how they're playing. Yeah. Hey, man, I apologize about the first call. I messed up, but yeah, Steeler Nation, but still believe.
Appreciate the call, man. You don't have to apologize at all, man. If it wasn't for Blog Talk giving us the blues, we wouldn't have to go through any of this. But I definitely appreciate your comments. I can't disagree with anything you said there. And, Steeler Nation forever, man. You got to live with the good and bad. I'm going to get into some of these comments, man, because I want to see you guys debate this in the chat. So in case some of you guys are not reading it, I'm going to read some of the interesting ones. I only say interesting because I feel like as Steeler fans, sometimes you guys' expectations, you don't consider everything, right? You just have that blind fanism. Let me read this. Marlon Nicholson says, man, we supposed to be winning this division every year like New England does. We've been borderline mediocre most of this decade, even with the Killer Bees. So I'm not even going to dive deep into that. I'm going to just say this. New England pretty much has 6 wins every year. They have a weak division, boys and girls. And when their division is not weak, look what happens. Buffalo gives them a run. Two games this year, the game came down to like a last possession, or it was only a 1 possession lead. Buffalo's coming. But we're going to use that comparison when we've had to deal with the Ravens all this time, and Cincinnati, who might not have been great, but they have been good on the field for the most part as far as talent. And Cleveland has been a pushover, but they still have been a team that you can't just sleep on in the division. So there's no way we're going to sit here and compare the AFC East to the AFC North. Come on, man. I can't even. Again, we all got our own opinions, but I can't rock with you on that one. There was another one here right after that, and I respect Afro Thunder. He says, to be honest, I just wanted to see us make the playoffs without the Killer Bees. Yeah, that'd be great to see. And I would like to see Tomlin, be able to get the team to the playoffs with all of the adversity. But then speaking of that, I see another guy here, Michael Altman, says, Broncos made the playoffs with Tim Tebow. Come on, man. So here's my comment to that. Again, when are we going to accept and give credit to other teams? Your beloved Steelers are not going to just be world beaters every time. Can we give any respect to our division? Can we give any respect to say, hey, whoa, Tim Tebow and them made the playoffs, but you remember what were they that year? Correct me if I'm wrong, because if I'm wrong, I love to be corrected, because I don't like to spew things that are not facts. Were they 8-8? Were the Tim Tebow Broncos 8-8? Somebody answer that for me before I continue my point. Were they 8-8 when they made the playoffs and they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers with Ryan Monday playing free safety because Ryan Clark was unable to do so because of sickle cell, and then Ike Taylor gets stiff arm and Demaryius Thomas runs down the field for a touchdown? 8-8. They were 8-8. Now, why do I say that with so much passion? You act like the Broncos, you act like they had this dynamic season. They made the playoffs at 8-8. So you don't give me they made it with Tim Tebow. The same way as Steelers was almost and might still make it with Doug Hodges or Mason Rudolph. It doesn't mean that, this is such a great team. You see what I'm saying? The comparisons y'all trying to give is you're speaking from your Steelers heart, man. Like you can't always go with the whole Steelers, we supposed to beat it. It don't work like that. We would love them to. Sure, we would love them to always win the division. Sure, we would love them to still make the playoffs after being down your franchise quarterback, and then your second string quarterback gets concussed and has a terrible game, and then your essentially fourth string comeback comes in and saves the day, and we still make the playoffs. Of course it would be a wonderful story. But these things do not happen. So all I'm saying is you guys cannot expect that to happen, especially the guys who are against the way Mike Tomlin has ran the team. And let me give you the comparison there. If you're that type of person, what about the years when they went 12-4 back to back? Or all the consecutive years when they won the division? So my whole point is it can't be both ways. It can't be that, oh, you wasted talent when you won so many times, and then also you feel that when he doesn't have the talent, they avoid the talent he's supposed to get to the playoffs. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is the only reason why I get at people when they make those comments. And again, I'm not pointing fingers. Y'all are here watching me. This is just my opinion. My opinion could be totally wrong. But this is the reason why I feel so strongly about it. It don't matter who the coach is. Even if we ain't talking about the Steelers. Even if we're talking about another team. You can't have both ways. You can't have it both ways. And again, I agree with people who feel like with a team like the Killer Bees and all that offense, your defense shouldn't have been that abysmal. You're right. The New England Patriots should never have exposed us like that in the AFC Championship game. The Jacksonville Jaguars should have never come to Heinz Field after a bye, and you allow them to produce 45 points. Even though a couple of those were defensive, still, you allow Blake Bortles to hand it off or go play action fake all the way down the field to win a playoff game in your house. Shouldn't happen. But like I said, if you're on that train, how are you going to turn around and then say, you're supposed to have this team in the playoffs with no quarterback and no offense? How can you rationalize that? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, folks. Stick to the script. Stick to the script. Don't flip-flop. Just say what you are. Say you hate this guy, hate that player, hate that person, and stick with that. Don't keep flipping, and when things are going good for them, it's rah, rah, rah. But when it's going bad for them, it's rah, rah, rah. Come on, man. Y'all gotta cut that out. Casey Silver says, what's up, Sim? At least we didn't get a losing season. That's all I'm saying. As fans, to me, listen, let's take his name out of it. If this was Bill Cowher or Chuck Noll, and the same thing happened, like in terms of how this season developed, I would still be like, I don't know how you held it together, coach. How did you do it? If this was a brand new Steeler coach and this happened, that's all I'm saying. I look at it from a what happened standpoint. I don't have bias for or against any person, any player. Even Keith Butler, y'all know I hate the way Keith Butler calls his defense. But this year, you know what I got to do to Keith Butler for this year? I have no choice but to give the man a round of applause. Go look at our total defense. I didn't even know this. I looked at it earlier today. I think we're like number 5. I'm just saying, people. I'm just saying. Hold on, I'm going to tell you right now. I was just looking at it. Total defense, the Pittsburgh Steelers, this was, of course, coming into today, we're number 4. Number 4. Against the pass, we're number 5. Against the rush, we were like number 10. Not too bad. So that's all I'm saying. I don't like Butler, but I still got to give him credit when his credit is due. That's all. Let me see what else you guys got. I'm going to get out of here in a second. Knight Rider says, I think Tomlin has coached his hardest this year and years past. I think he's coached relaxed because he had the talent to bail him out. Now, you know what, my man? That is a great point. You see the difference? That's a great point. Now, whether we know it's true or not, we could argue that till the cows come home. But that's a great point. That's a good assessment. You're saying, you know what? I feel like he might have been a little relaxed. Well, obviously, we can make that parallel with him and AB, since now we know AB was a cancer in the locker room. And maybe he did sit back on his laurels a little bit. Fair assessment right there. See the difference between giving like an actual assessment instead of just saying somebody should be fired, oh, this guy sucks, with no substance. Brother Mark says we can look to free agency and draft for offensive help if we want to, but it starts with the quarterback position, building and maintaining that chemistry with the offense. Absolutely. And you know what? We might be in this limbo a little bit, man, until Roethlisberger actually retires. Because I think, again, while Roethlisberger is still there, I think they're still going to feel like they got that in their pocket as far as quarterback. Why Diggy says, just like Kansas City shouldn't have let the Steelers beat them with a field goal after they had to bye in 2016. But Andy Reid gets a pass that Tomlin doesn't seem to get for some reason. Man, listen. That's all I can say to that. Captain Spartan says we can get Lawrence if he has another slow start to the year like he has had these past 2 years, and Justin Fields lights up again. Okay. We shall see. Okay, Marlon Nicholson responded back. He says, if you're going to put Ben in the Hall of Fame with the likes of Bradshaw, Montana, Aikman, Brady, and Manning, then you got to expect him to be successful and making the playoffs almost every year like most guys did. Okay, come on now. So what about Dan Marino? Let's move on. Robert Ellison. That's what I'm saying. When Ben went down, I knew the season was going to be tough. 8-8 is about where I thought it would be. Listen, from a football perspective, this is all I'm talking about. Let's use one of Tomlin's phrases. Nameless gray faces, right? We're not talking about that. Coaching staff, none of that. Players on the field, players still remaining, schedule. From the moment that Roethlisberger went down, in my mind, I said, ooh, yeah, this might be a little 8-8, might be a 79. Only because your franchise quarterback goes down, everything changes, folks. Everybody's not lucky enough to have Nick Foles in their pocket when he was able to get Philly to the playoffs and win the Super Bowl. Most of the time when your franchise quarterback goes down, it's over. Not because they're benched. Not because of how Lamar Jackson got the job. I'm talking about when the plans changed at that moment. And there you have it. Why would you expect anything else? KSO Dangerous says you determine how good a coach is by adversity. I fully agree with that. But what are your expectations? That's all I'm saying. Because, again, if people want to play that game, and I hate that we have to always sit here and argue this point, because it's not about Mike Tomlin. I'm trying to speak to you guys from a Steeler fan perspective. Why? Because let's bring the next coach in. And he has two. Picture this for a moment. We fire Mike Tomlin, bring a next guy in, and he has 2 consecutive losing seasons. What's your thoughts then? Fire him! Get him out of here. You wouldn't want to give that guy a chance, right? Or he comes in, have 1 season. Fire Tomlin, bring the new guy in, and he goes 2-14. You know what y'all gonna say? Well, he ain't the guy. My point being, if we're gonna say things like, well, adversity, and I'm not saying KSO is saying this, I'm just saying in general for people who think this way, where you see the measures of a good coach through adversity. How many other coaches in the league have we seen pull themselves out of this type of adversity and win a Super Bowl? This is not regular stuff, is all I'm trying to get people to understand. It is not a Tomlin thing solely. The things that you guys are expecting does not happen. And it's very rare if it does. That's all I'm trying to say. And you can take Tomlin's name out of it. I'm just talking from a football standpoint, the way the league is structured, the things that some of you guys are expecting, you don't see it. Nobody in a million years thought that Nick Foles, who has struggled in Jacksonville when he wasn't injured, was going to continue to run that Carson Wentz was having when he was balling, MVP caliber season. Nobody thought Nick Foles was going to take them to the promised land and win it. Nobody. So don't try to give me that. Oh well, good coach, man. Michael Van Leer says, with fourth-string quarterback and young wide receivers and not much of a running game, better defense than previous years, 8-8 is good season since franchise quarterback is out for the year. I can't be mad with 8-8 or 9-7. Me neither, man. Me neither. Builder's Life says, let Paxton play. Well, we pulling at straws now. I mean, I'm not opposed to it because maybe, just maybe, I know Kenyon ain't going to want to hear this one, but I'm just reaching for the stars here. Maybe Paxton Lynch is a better backup than your boy Duck. Maybe. Maybe he could be a third. I don't know. So I'm not opposed to it. So Rajan says, we have a better record than some teams with all their starters. Yeah, yes, we do. Drew Cagle says, the Steelers fan, we are spoiled. If we fire Tomlin, who will we hire? There isn't anyone out there that really excites me. Yeah, I mean, I know everybody, the popular choice is going to be Lincoln Riley. You know, a guy who hasn't been in the NFL. Yeah, it keeps going like that. Everybody has that short term. They just want that spark. You know, Sean McVay did that to people. Oh, we can have that success. But look what they're doing now. See what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Big A says, don't expect the Steelers to blow any team out. The expectation should, I say should like that because he puts it in caps, should be that your game's plan revolves around the quarterback. Duck isn't built to read a defense like a seasoned vet. Mason not built to run. Very true, man. I can't disagree with any of that. 4TL Music Group says, even John Lynch is better than Colbert and he's new. Okay, well, again, I'm not going to argue those opinions because we all have our own. I'm not going as far as saying who's better than as far as GM. I don't know. That ain't really for me to argue, and I'm not going to try to persuade your opinion either. So you're welcome to it. But yeah, the Niners are doing a great job over there. You cannot deny that. Captain Spartan 04, please do cause please do, because I'll forget them and argue with them all over again. I don't know what that's about. Maybe it was something I said. Somebody said, can we get to the playoffs? Yes, we can, but we're going to have to win next week, and the Titans have to lose. Steelers Freak says, no doubt, Coach T has made some bad calls this past decade. However, he had to play the players given to him. The front office is to blame. I can only hope they address the O-line. Hey, man, listen, that's a great comment. Because, again, you're speaking from a football and organization standpoint. I think sometimes people lose that. Even with the guys that we say are great coaches. One dude in here just said something about John Lynch. Everybody's going to give Kyle Shanahan the credit. But you got to give John Lynch and them boys credit for building this team that they have. You see how this thing works? So it's, again, I'm of the mindset of, this is just how I roll for anybody who's new. I'm of the mindset of coaches do what they do, players do what they're supposed to do, front office is supposed to do what they're supposed to do. It's a collective of everything. And me, I personally feel like I can identify when it was a player issue, meaning miscommunication, blown coverage, penalties, drops, fumbles, tackles, etc. I can identify even with our staff when it's a coaching decision, challenges, or lack thereof, time management, going for it on fourth down, fake punts, things like that. Formation that you choose to come out there with. Now we're talking about the OCs, and you got to throw Tomlin in there too, because I'm sure Tomlin knows the plan and he oversees it, even though he always says he likes to allow his guys to coach. But game plan, how we approached it, going away from the run or whatever, coming out in this formation on defense, playing zone, insert, those are coach things. And then GMs, you got to look at the money that you're willing to spend or the owner allows you to spend in free agency, moving up in the draft, those type of things. And this year, again, a lot of the criticism, we can't really give that same criticism this season because we did things we hadn't seen in years. Moving our way up to get Bush, getting Minkah Fitzpatrick, signing Steven Nelson. Those are things that we're not accustomed of seeing on a regular from a Steelers organization. But again, it's a collective. It's a collective. It's not always just the coach, just the players. just the front office. It's all of that. And if one piece is weak, no consistency. Let me give you an example. Freddie Kitchens. That's all I'm going to say. They got all the talent in the world. Look at them. All right, man, I'm going to read a couple more and then I'm going to get out of here. Lanisha says, Afro, she's speaking to Afro Thunder. She says, Mason and Duck never thought they would play unless Ben went down. This season was a good lesson in adversity. Yep. Somebody says they believe Connor will be gone next season. Possible. I don't know, but we'll see. Let me see. Darren Dalton, he says, I hope we make it to the playoffs. Yeah, obviously we won't do well, but it's a plus for the new guys to get that experience and exposure to carry over into the next season. You know what, Darren? I'm going to give you a round of applause for that. I'm going to give you a round of applause, because I haven't been spewing that. I've been spewing what's the point of getting to the playoffs, but that is an excellent point. I couldn't agree more. So, yeah, give them a little taste of that. Whether they win or lose, that never hurts. Especially when you're hearing guys like Deontay Johnson saying earlier this week, he openly admits that, yeah, he is kind of hitting the rookie wall in terms of he's never played this long. There you go. Great point there. All right, I'm going to read two more, maybe one or two that I didn't read as far as names. Victory Asher says, we were doing fine until we brought Connor back into the mix last week. I think that messed up the flow of this team. Possible. I won't deny that. Very possible. We probably tried to play a different style with Connor against the Bills, so you might be right about that. All right, one more. Here we go. Drew Wilson. He says, Sim, should we... I just lost it. It disappeared on me. There it is. Should we draft a O-lineman in the second round? Woo. That's tough, guys. That's a bit early, but if the right guy is there, maybe. Because let's really think about it really quick, and then I'll leave on that note. What do we need the most? Tight end help, I think. Offensive line help, because looking at guys like Ramon Foster, he's on his last leg. I'll dare to say this. Marquise Pouncey, we might need to start looking for a center that can wait a while and build him up. And then we don't really know what we got at right tackle. And Matt Fowler, I think Matt Fowler would get better. And let's be real. Big Al didn't play great this season. Hasn't been the worst, but Villanueva hasn't been a stud this season. So, yeah, depending on who's there, if there's a David DeCastro-like guy at one of those positions, whether it be right guard or left guard, actually, because DeCastro is the right guard. If it's a left guard or a left tackle, right tackle that's of that caliber, even though there's different positions, but just think if it's like a prospect like DeCastro was or like the boy Quentin Nelson was. Yeah, I don't have a problem with doing that. But I think we need tight end. Wide receiver, I think we don't have to go as early with. I don't think we have to go extremely early at running back. But we definitely need to keep those two positions. And then, defensively, we probably need another safety. We definitely probably need another safety, to back up or eventually play a little more maybe than Edmonds in key situations, kind of like that rotation we had with Cam Sutton. Where sometimes he'll come in and play deep. So, I don't know, but I think it is possible. Man, if we're talking offense, I think O-line, tight end, and running back is probably our biggest needs right now. Because our wide receivers have ended up looking like, let's be honest, do you guys believe in a Juju, a Washington, a Deontay Johnson trio with Roethlisberger? I think that's pretty good. So I don't think we need to go extremely high. And I would like to bring Kane back. And then maybe you're looking at drafting a receiver late, like a burner type of guy. So we'll see. Or that guy that we talk about a lot, hint, Kenyon, that dude that we got our eye on. So we'll see. But all right, man, let me go ahead and get out of here, guys, man. Yes, I'm going to try to get back to it on Tuesday with the film study. I will say this, we do special things on Christmas Eve that will have me probably not at home around that time of 7:30. So what I will probably do, just to give you guys a heads up, I'm either going to do it earlier in the day because I think my job is going to close like around 1 o'clock. So it might just be a live stream early, and who's ever available to watch it there will do it, and whoever not, you'll just see it on the rebound. Or I might just do a recorded show and post it and have it a premiere at 7:30. So either or, it's probably not going to be a live session on Tuesday. And I think you guys can understand that. Excuse me. But outside of that, man, we'll see. There's still a fighting chance, but, don't expect it. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, hey, maybe next year. But all right, man, before I go, if you guys were new, if you enjoyed the show, if you liked it just a little bit, I need you to do 2 things right here. Hit that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and the third thing, cut on your notifications so you know when the videos are streaming and available. As well, if you feel the need to donate, guys, if you like to donate to the cause, if you like to do it during the stream, which you only have a few seconds left to do so, you can click the $ in the bottom right corner or bottom left corner. I can't remember where it is, but you can donate right here through YouTube. If you prefer to do it outside of YouTube, which I actually prefer as well, PayPal, Cash App, both of them are very secure, guys. I have the information in the description. And like I said, I will thank you in advance for doing so. Other than that, I did want to say this and I almost forgot. But let me look real quick. Le'Veon Bell thought he was going to have himself a day, huh? Let me see what his stats were. Le'Veon Bell. And some nerve of him coming to the game with black and yellow on. But like I said, I don't hate Bell, man. I think the boy made a mistake, though. Whoa, the Eagles are winning. What? Let me find out. Eagles are winning, folks. Cowboys, y'all better get yourself together. But let me look at them stats real quick, and then I'll get out of here. Yeah, so for you guys that are following that game, the Eagles are up 10-3. 2 minutes left. Cowboys looks like they have the ball. Zach Ertz is questionable to come back in the game, which can't be good for them. As far as the Le'Veon Bell statistics, see what he had. Mason Rudolph was 14 for 20, 129 yards, 1 touchdown. Devlin Hodges, 11 for 17, 84 yards, and 2 interceptions. Le'Veon Bell, 25 carries for 72 yards, which was a whopping 2.9. Look at it. They ain't have no yards, man. Sam Darnold, 16 for 26, 183 yards with 1 touchdown. Are y'all hearing this? Jamison Crowder had the best day as far as statistics. 4 receptions, 60 yards. Robby Anderson, 2 receptions, 32 yards, and of course the touchdown. They didn't do nothing. See what I'm saying? There's no reason why we couldn't have beat this team if we could have done just a little bit better. Let's go back and see what our total stats were. Yeah, so you got the 129 from Rudolph, the 84 for Hodges. Connor, 6 carries for 32 yards. Karif White, 6 carries for 22 yards. Benny Snell, 7 carries for 14 yards. And Jalen Samuels, 3 carries for 7 yards, which is all dun-dun. Terrible offensive output, man. And that's why we lost, guys. And that's probably why, again, we're not going to make the playoffs, but we'll see. But all right, man, love you guys, man. I appreciate what you guys do for me, man, each and every time. I appreciate y'all coming through. Y'all know that. I'm going to remind you one more time. Just do that for me. That ain't that hard. Subscribe. Hit the notification. Thumbs up. That ain't hard to do, right? All right, do that for me. I'll be back on Tuesday. And if I don't do a live stream on Tuesday, let me say this in advance. Merry Christmas to all of you guys that do celebrate Christmas. Enjoy your holiday. Please be safe, all right? Just do that for me. Be safe, because it's a crazy world out here. But outside of that, we're done. Love you guys. God bless. Good night. And thank you for tuning in to the Turbo Towel post-game show. Peace.